Welcome to the Colonial Quarter. My name is Cooper. We're here in a real blacksmithing shop from the 1700s. We're making real things with real black iron. Right here I got working in the fire some red hot black iron. Now they call this black iron because, well, it's black and it's iron, and well, that's where we get the term blacksmithing from the iron they used to work with, and from the term smith. It comes from the word smite, to smack something with a hammer. Now down here where the metal wasn't in the fire, you can't really bend it, but up here where it was in the fire, ooh, it bends like taffy. Now you can turn this into anything you want, folks. In fact, today I'm gonna make this into something very handy to have aboard a pirate ship, a hook. Now, because I am a master blacksmith and obviously a master of comedy, if I want this to be a nice flat piece of metal again, all I gotta do is bend it back into shape and I will once again have a perfectly flat piece of metal. All right, well, not quite, but I can fix it. All I need to do to fix it is to take my little hammer right here, take my anvil, put this between the two, let's see what happens. There we go. Something you may notice is every time I strike the hammer on the anvil, it bounces. When I strike it on the metal, it doesn't really bounce. So, to make this nice and easy on my wrist, all I gotta do is smack it on the anvil, bounce it back up into the air, then onto the metal, then onto the anvil, then onto the metal, back and forth and back and forth. This is saving energy. So I'm never actually lifting the hammer, I'm only ever pulling it back down. And now I have a nice flat piece of metal. But as you can see, it's not red hot anymore. Do you still think it's hot? Well, let's find out. We've got a bucket of water right here. Let's see how hot this metal really is. Yeah, that's still pretty hot. Let's put that back in the fire. Maybe let that heat up a little bit more. Thankfully, though, I was smart and I've planned ahead, and I've already got another iron in the fire. But you don't want too many irons in the fire. You might get confused on what you're working with. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of beeswax. I'm going to put this beeswax onto the metal. Now beeswax, I'm sure you're curious. Why using beeswax? Well, you see, the metal itself is rather porous. It's got lots of little holes in it. Now, if water gets in these holes, it just starts to rust the metal, so instead we use beeswax. Now, of course, we wouldn't want to use too much beeswax. This could set the metal on fire. Now, if it set the metal on fire, why, it could set the whole building on fire. This is where we get the phrase, mind your beeswax. Means pay attention to what you're doing, otherwise things could get out of... Because I've dipped this in the water, let's see. It should now be cold enough to touch. Think I should touch it? Let's find out. 1, 2, 3. Aha! You see where the water touched it, it's nice and cold, but where the water didn't touch it, this piece of metal is so hot you might still be able to hear it sizzle. There it goes. Now, because I've dipped this in the water on both ends, it's what they call tempered. To temper the metal is to cool it down very quickly, make it nice and solid like this chain right here, or perhaps cool it down very slowly, make it a bit more flexible and spring-like, like a spring. Well, legally in a blacksmithing shop, you were not allowed to make weapons, at least not in the Spanish colonies. They wanted to mandate who could not have weaponry in their new colony. So they made it the job of the armory back there to make all of our weapons. Made it the job of the blacksmith to make tools. We just so happen to have one right here. This is not a weapon. One could use it to cleave a skull in twain if one so wished, but of course that's not what it's meant for. It's meant for chopping wood, but it ain't gonna do nobody no good if it's this dull, so we're gonna sharpen it right here in our little grindstone. Let's get this grindstone up to speed. Now that this is nice and sharp, let's see if I can do my trick. Ho! Opa! Hey! ho, what do you know? And wow, ta-da! At the age of 7, a young apprentice could come to work at a place like this. Their job would be to pump air into the fire, but from the age of 7, you'd be learning how to make things out of metal so that you could open your own shop. It was oftentimes for yourself. If you want to learn more about our blacksmithing shop, please come down to the Colonial Quarter. Come see Cooper. Some of the things you'll find here are our leatherworking shop, of course our armory with real armor and real weaponry from that era. You'll see live cannon demonstrations, a boat that's in the process of being built, a caravel, just a whole lot of fun here at the Colonial Quarter. And if you don't mind, I got some blacksmithing to do.